Imagine waking up one day and looking at yourself in the mirror, only to realize that everything you thought you knew about yourself, your behavior, your emotions, and even your life might be completely wrong. What if the way you react to situations, the decisions you make, and your patterns of thinking aren't as conscious or deliberate as you think? What if everything you assume is within your control is, in reality, being influenced by a hidden force that operates without your awareness? This force is known as the shadow self, a concept introduced by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. The shadow is not some dark, mystical being hiding in the corners of your mind. It's far more insidious and subtle. It is the unconscious part of your psyche, the repository of everything you've been taught to suppress, to ignore, or to deny about yourself. These are the traits, emotions, and desires that society, culture, or your upbringing have conditioned you to believe are wrong, unwanted, or even shameful. It's the part of you that feels anger but has been taught to suppress it, the jealousy you hide when others succeed, or the insecurity you bury deep inside when asked to stand out or take the spotlight. The shadow is all the traits that don't fit the idealized image of who you want to be. The things you think are too dark, too unacceptable, or too shameful to show others, or even yourself. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The more you try to repress or ignore the shadow, the more control it has over your life. As Carl Jung wisely stated, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This means that as long as you refuse to confront and integrate the shadow, it continues to operate in the background, influencing your decisions, emotions, and actions without your knowledge or consent. You might think you're in control of your life, but in reality, it's the hidden forces of the unconscious mind that are calling the shots. The shadow doesn't care about your awareness or your personal growth. It's driven by emotions, desires, and urges that lie beneath the surface, waiting for the opportunity to manifest in unhealthy ways. The shadow operates in ways you may not even recognize. It's not just the big, overt aspects of your personality or behavior that are shaped by the shadow. It also affects the small, subtle decisions you make every day. Think about the times you've acted in a way that didn't align with who you believe yourself to be. Maybe you were irritable with someone you care about for no apparent reason, or perhaps you reacted in a way that felt completely out of character. These moments are often the result of the shadow self making an appearance. The emotions and desires you have pushed aside are bubbling up to the surface, demanding to be seen, but your conscious mind is not ready to face them. This is the power of the unconscious mind, working behind the scenes and steering your life in ways that you are unaware of. The reason we often don't know our true selves is because of the way the shadow operates within us. We tend to view ourselves through a lens of idealism, shaped by societal norms, family expectations, and cultural influences. We develop an image of who we are and who we want to be, and then we try to align our behavior with that image. The problem is that this image doesn't always match reality. The shadow is the part of you that doesn't fit the ideal. It's the anger, the greed, the fear, the shame, emotions and desires that feel foreign or unacceptable. But when you suppress them, they don't disappear. Instead, they remain in your unconscious mind, ready to emerge in unexpected and often disruptive ways. The more you push these emotions and desires away, the more power they gain. In many cases, you might not even realize how much they are influencing your life. For example, imagine that you were taught from a young age that anger is bad or that showing weakness is a sign of failure. Over time, you might have convinced yourself that you don't feel anger or that you are always calm and composed. But the truth is that anger doesn't just disappear. It doesn't go away because you refuse to acknowledge it. Instead, it becomes hidden in your unconscious mind, festering and growing stronger. Eventually, it will manifest in ways that you can't control. You might find yourself snapping at someone when you least expect it, or you may react to a situation with irrational rage, completely unaware of where that anger came from. This is the shadow at work, controlling you from behind the scenes. This hidden part of yourself can also influence the way you interact with others. One of the most fascinating and destructive ways the shadow reveals itself is through projection. Projection happens when you see qualities in others that you can't accept in yourself. For example, you might look at someone and think, "Why are they so selfish?" when deep down, you know that you struggle with selfishness yourself. Or you might criticize someone for being arrogant, even though you have an unconscious fear of your own arrogance. This is the shadow projecting onto others. The qualities you reject in yourself are often the same traits you see in those around you. Instead of acknowledging these traits within, you project them onto others, distancing yourself from the truth of your own psyche. This leads to judgment, criticism, and resentment, and it keeps you from truly understanding yourself. Another way the shadow manifests is through self-sabotage. Have you ever worked hard to achieve something, only to find that you somehow managed to sabotage yourself just before reaching the finish line? Maybe you turned down a promotion at work because deep down you didn't believe you deserved it. Or perhaps you pushed away someone who loved you even though you longed for connection, because you feared being vulnerable. This is the shadow self-sabotaging your success, pulling you back into a comfort zone where it's easier to stay small and hidden. The fear of success, of being too powerful, or of stepping outside of your familiar identity can all be traced back to the shadow. It doesn't want you to grow beyond the person you've always been. It wants to keep you small, to keep you in the shadows where it feels safe. And because the shadow operates beneath your awareness, you might not even realize you're sabotaging your own growth. The thought of confronting your shadow can be incredibly daunting. After all, who wants to face the parts of themselves that they've been avoiding their whole lives? Who wants to admit to feelings of jealousy, anger, insecurity, or shame? But here's the truth. Avoiding the shadow only makes it stronger. The more you run from it, the more power it gains over your life. The longer you ignore it, the more it will continue to direct your decisions and actions. Carl Jung believed that in order to live a truly authentic and fulfilling life, you must confront your shadow. You must bring those repressed emotions and desires into the light, accept them, and learn to integrate them into your life in healthy ways. Confronting the shadow is not about eliminating it. It's not about making the dark parts of yourself disappear. It's about acknowledging them and learning to live with them in harmony. Jung taught that the process of shadow work is not just about recognizing the parts of yourself that you've rejected, but also about accepting them. When you embrace your anger, your jealousy, your fears, and your insecurities, you stop allowing them to control you from the shadows. You begin to integrate them into your conscious life, and in doing so, you reclaim your power. Rather than projecting your fears onto others, you can start to heal and grow. Instead of sabotaging yourself, you can align with your true potential and move toward the life you truly want to create. The journey of confronting the shadow is not easy, and it's not something that happens overnight. It's a lifelong process of self-awareness, growth, and transformation. But every time you make the unconscious conscious, you take one more step toward becoming the person you are meant to be. You begin to live in alignment with your true self, and you stop being controlled by the unconscious forces that have been shaping your life without your knowledge. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow self serves as a powerful reminder that we are more than the surface-level version of ourselves. There is so much more beneath the surface, waiting to be understood, integrated, and transformed. When you confront your shadow, you begin to live a life of authenticity and power. You stop being a passive participant in your own life and start actively creating the person you want to be. So ask yourself, what part of your shadow is controlling you right now? What emotions, desires, or traits have you been avoiding? And how can you begin the journey of understanding, accepting, and transforming those parts of yourself? The answers lie within you, hidden in the depths of your unconscious mind. But only by shining a light on the darkness will you truly be able to unlock your full potential and live a life of freedom and authenticity.